key. And I think the question that I bet is on everyone's mind is, okay, if I can come in and I have the right paycheck or I have the right check, I can write and get this technology. That's something that's great. But what does it take from me as a client in terms of my teams, my processes? Like, how much do I need to change the way I do things to be able to use AEP, right? Like, we've seen clients, unfortunately, will buy products that just sit on the shelf because there's really, yes, there is a use case, there is a technology gap, there's really no people to run it. Even if you hire an agency, you don't have the in-house people to run it. From AEP perspective, what's your thoughts? Like, who do you, would you, if you want to give an advice to, let's say a CIO is asking you today, Dave, I want this AEP, but I want to staff a team in-house that can drive this successfully. Who should I hire?
We have different roles across like data architect, data engineer, marketer, marketing operations and things like that. And certainly everybody saw, the acquisition this week. I mean, this is a big week for Adobe, obviously, with the Workfront acquisition. That's a careful planning exercise in terms of understanding what needs to happen. And part of our process is like helping the customer to understand, exactly what's involved. And we have a number of different methods that we do that. Like on my team, we developed what looks like a college curriculum of deep dive classes, like for our customers. And we have like 100, 200, and 300 level classes. And 100 level classes are overviews, and like a lot of times we'll have a demo and things like that, and we show like this is AP, this is how it works and things like that. 200 level classes, we have like a practitioner focus, meaning like we're going to deep dive, we're going to do a marketer experience demo. This is a very a deeper demo that kind of shows you what does it take to build a segment, what does it take to activate something, what does it take to actually get a message out and things like that. And then the 300 level classes are, technology classes. Like that's where I say class, I shouldn't use the word class. It's really just a session. I mean, there's, we don't give.
I like classes. I love school.
I want to be careful not to confuse it with training because it's not training.
Right.
It's like,
enablement. I think it's a form of enablement that is actually, in my opinion, training sometimes is like it goes in, it goes out, right? But what you're saying is like, hey, this is catered specifically to enable you to do these things.
And we want the concept like to really be apparent to the customer as part of the overview, like even the deep dive overview sessions that we do. And like one of the ones we do, so we have the experience data model. You guys are probably familiar with it.
XDM.
XDM, and there's a deep dive session that we do on XDM to help customers understand how does data have to land in AEP in order to become part of the profile and in order to become part of the XDM data lake and in order to process and things like that. And then we have another deep dive session that we call systems architecture, meaning like here are all the services that make up AEP. Here's how the data pipeline works. Here's how the ingestion service works. Here's how the batch ingestion works. Like here's how the governance processes are applied. Like here's essentially here's the journey front to back that a piece of data goes through as it is ingested and then activated from AEP. And like those sessions are designed to help customers like start to understand specifically like what am I going to have to do to make this work for me. What are the steps I'm going to have to take and what are the things that I'm going to have to be a part of. And that's depending on the customer. I mean, it's data engineers, it's data architects, it's developers, it's people who are building ETL and things like that. And then on the marketing side, who's building the segments, who's actually designing the activations and things like that. And then like a step further from there, like legal and compliance, like who's auditing my segments, who's auditing my, my case flows and things like that. So it's all very, it's fairly customer specific. And like we try and have discussions that surface the right questions so that the customers know what level of what level of the infrastructure that they need exists, and then what might they have to hire? Because I mean that, the roles I just described, like they already exist at the customer, and
Mhm.
sometimes they're just not involved in the day-to-day with marketing, but they are now, those types of discussions.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna note, is that these roles, whether from a data engineering, ETL, or marketer,
Yeah.
these can be already existing within the organization doing similar
Yeah.
things. And but with this, with AEP, it's just they are now narrowing down to the use of AEP and managing that. So, which is great. Um, but it's also, I think it's important to highlight, like, AEP on its own is not going to be magic just running on its own. Yes, it will get to a point where if things are set up and processes in place and the right compliance and the right activation, destinations and such, yes, it will be a very powerful machine, but it needs the people
Yeah.
to execute on it.
Yeah.
Um, that's very good to know.
Awesome partners like Softcrylic.
Hey, yes, yes. Thank you for just selling us more and more. I like it. Um,